Hello, everyone. I'm Jenny. Nice to be with all of you. I'm using a new camera, and so it may look funny to you guys where I'm looking. It's a little disconcerting, honestly, but we're supposed to be trying new things. So this is the first attempt. I'm sure it will get better. You know what? I wanted to say thank you to everyone who took time to really, anytime you comment, it's helpful for all of us on YouTube when you do that. But letting me know whether or not you have a notification is really great because I can screenshot that then and send it to them. And for any reader, if you could take the time to do that when it happens, when you don't get one. So we're in the energy now for the full moon in Libra. I was talking to everybody who was at the live meeting for the Neptune Jupiter conjunction. I really appreciate all the feedback that you guys have sent me. It's so great to hear back, what your experiences were, and then everybody who shared during our time together as well. And we talked about how it feels as if we're in a Mercury retrograde. I told you that I would look it up to see what parallels were happening, what was going on. It is contra parallel Mars, but that which is like the energy of an opposition up in the tropical zodiac. But this is a measurement it's by declination that really doesn't account for it. So I don't know what to tell you. I can't figure it out. And we had like a Uranus moon contra parallel for 2 hours yesterday, but that doesn't explain it either. But any of you who are experiencing that, I really don't know what to say. He's not in shadow. He's not, out of bounds. So it's just, I don't know. Maybe it's something to do with all of the geomagnetic storms. We've had a lot of those lately. And I'll remember at some point to leave I'll pin a comment for you guys so that you can look up how to sign on to NOAA's website and get the email notifications for when we have geomagnetic storms or solar flares, all that good stuff. They'll send you an email because a lot of times some of the websites that get their information from NOAA don't correct it when they're canceled. So you see like a bunch of fear posts go around Facebook and those things didn't even really happen. They were canceled. So just so you have it for yourself to know, because we don't really know the effects on the physical body. We haven't had this go on as it has been. Metatron asked me in 2015 to kind of keep up with what was happening with that. And at that Lionsgate, that was 888 that year. They were crazy for like a month. I mean, they were going up to G8. They were like from G6 to G8. I don't want to say 9. I think there was some 9s in there, but it was just constant. And that was kind of when it got on everybody's radar. So, yeah, it's good to have an idea because with that, you just want to make sure that you're, drinking a lot of water. He's saying taking time to sit in stillness. And he was actually talking about that as we were getting ready when I was preparing for the video. He was sharing that with me that, with the vibration the way that it is, it's pretty like hectic and chaotic in the heavens. You may have noticed some of that playing out on the planet. I know so many of you are having medical like emergency kind of things. Or family members are. I mean, there's so many people that are really in it right now. So it's good for us and it's good for all that is if we can take time to just be. Even candle gazing, just having a few minutes of taking deep breaths as we learn a new meditation practice, and really being careful with the physical body right now. So here we go. Because Uranus is in Taurus, that's why I'm saying that. So, if you do have something or you think that something is happening medically, having an issue, then probably get that looked at. And that candle just went out as I said that. Interesting. We're just going to leave it. But so We're already in that vibration of the full moon. And I mentioned it a couple of videos ago because it's a big one. It's in Libra at 27, between 27 and 28 degrees of Libra. So any planets that you have, you want to give like maybe 6 degrees from one side of 27 and 6 degrees to the other. So three of any sign, it's being aspected in some way. And it's in what is called a quintile. Mars is in a quintile to Uranus. So that's a big deal because that's a shift or a happening, a gateway, however you want to say that, where something is going to change and it's going to be something of value. That could be with resources, it could be in partnership. Of course, Libra has to do with partners. Libra is like justice for all, fighting for the underdog, helping others to gain their freedom and the causes that we become involved with in order to help others, kind of thing. And now Mars has moved into Pisces at the time of this full moon. So now we have Mars, Venus, and then that Jupiter Neptune connection still going on, still happening at the time of the full moon. So it's going to be emotional. There's just no way that you can look at this. May even be some anger involved, but ultimately Uranus is about freedom from oppression, freedom from, because he's with Mercury, new, like releasing programs of the mind, where we can, he's saying, spin out, and really just being in, the way he's saying it, is a state of grace for ourselves and grace for others. I know one of you had mentioned in the comments in the last video that you were having a hard time with someone who, we see as, most of us see him as sort of the emblem of abusive power right now. Remember, like when we send hatred and anger to other people, that effect on them is, plays out. And it also affects us because it comes into our space if we send it out. So really just being in that state of grace, kind of pulling out of things that are not affecting us personally, not taking other people's opinions personally, but most likely you're going to have things coming up in the subconscious that deal with partners and maybe where you were shafted. What do you want to say about that? Where you allowed yourself to be treated as less than, why did we take on that experience? It's important to get to the bottom to, like Thich Nhat Hanh said, when you feel anger, don't just dismiss it and ask, just release the anger, sit with it and figure out, where is this coming from? What's the root of this? And it can be just an old program that's from eons and eons ago. You may notice that my right eye is swollen. I have something in my eyelid. And right is, of course, male. So I'm like, oh, I wonder what I'm not seeing now with someone like that in my life. And this is just a time for it to be released. Expect truly revelations coming up. And this could just be, like a knowing that you get, where you had a suspicion and it is confirmed. Probably not the best energy to confront someone. Mars in Pisces is he's like the spiritual warrior. But remember that Pisces can also be, if we dwell there, it can be confusing. If we are ungrounded and we aren't focusing on love, the Creator's always leading us to love and light. No one can send anything into our space unless we have sent an arrow or, have some old tie of resentment connected with them. Spirit doesn't just let anybody send stuff into other people's space. It doesn't work like that. But if we have regret or he's saying feeling abandoned by the person even will create a negative bond, then that stuff can get in. So he was talking a lot about being careful, protecting ourselves. Sorry, I need to take a drink of water. So right before I was making the video, I spilled water on myself and I had to use the hair dryer and I just did it again. I wanted to make sure it didn't go all over my shirt this time. Whew. But yeah, like with Pisces, we can be super absorbent. We have a bad storm coming and it just started pouring. So I'm waiting to see if the hail is about to follow because I have the window open. But, you know, this is like when we need to, well, if we're taking good care of ourselves, it's just an opportunity to release it. You know, we can only control what we put into our bodies, what we put into our minds, how we treat other people, the way that we think of ourselves, the way that we think of others. And really, what is reflected to us on the outside is a condition of what is happening on the inside. You know, like just in these recent days, there's been technical issues with my website. And it's interesting to watch how people react to it. You know, some people take it personally and are angry, even though it's really not in my control. I appreciate it's just so much more peaceful when we can come to the space where we recognize that everything outside of us, even when it's really crappy stuff, is showing us something about ourselves, some way that we're not respecting ourselves. We aren't honoring ourselves. So be careful with boundaries because even in partnerships that are, you know, good, people may try to cross boundaries right now just because your soulmates are checking, you know, like helping you to see. And then the Sabian symbol. So we look at Venus because she is ruling the full moon. So the Sabian symbol is for Pisces 13. That's where Venus will be at the time of the full moon. What battles are you meant to lay to rest now? Are you tired of fighting? Are you finding yourself spending more time than you need to just endeavoring to prove yourself and your position or to defend your position? Is there a need to lay down your weapons and promote peace between people? Are some of the battles really from your past? So the Sabian symbol is a sword used in many battles is now in a museum. There are times when there are conflicts in relationship when people do come out with less than balance, right? Like there isn't justice. And so in those cases, it's important because we don't have control over the other person and spirit can't come down and, you know, thump them on the head until they do the right thing, right? Their soul allows, he is saying, free will choice to take place. And in some instances, we just have to surrender it and trust that the universe, the creator, the vibration of pure love, your soul is going to bring it back to you, is going to bring that justice to you in a different way that doesn't have to do with this person anymore. And that's a lot of this energy. A lot of it is, you know, partners. It's revelations for sure. Revelations that we did not see coming with issues of justice. So be on the lookout for that. But even with money, the South Node in the universal chart is at the door of the second house of resources, and the North Node is at the door of the eighth house of other people's money or worthiness, wealth. And so it looks like there will be a shift in the balance of money for a lot of people. And that could have to do with other, you know, like that, the person who maybe took advantage financially. But it's always good to just open and allow the universe to fill that void because other people don't always do the right thing. There are a lot of unconscious people in the world who are not looking to do the right thing, right? Also, Eris is just a few degrees from the sun. Eris is like the story where we put up and we put up and we put up, and then we're like, okay, I'm taking you down now. But because of, you know, the Sabian symbol, because of what has happened with Mars and Uranus, this is more going to be our soul kind of taking up for us, right? You know, the sun and Eris are in Aries, so they're being ruled by Mars, who just stepped into Pisces. I always look at Neptune and Pisces as the sign where spirit takes a hand. Not to say that we don't have free will choice, but our way and what we think is like the right way for it, the justice to come about, to unfold, isn't always what is best for all that is. There's probably a better solution that spirit wants to bring forward. And so that's a lot to do with this as well. So Lilith just moved into Cancer. And I think that's why he's bringing up issues of abandonment. Archangel Gabriel is with Ceres in Gemini. So like I said, messages coming in. That's in a square to the Neptune-Jupiter connection. As far as Pisces being gases, that's rules gas. And then the two rulers of Pisces being in that sign in the last decan of the sign. It happens about 150 years. I think the next time it will come together, they will come together in Pisces. It'll be 2189. And the last time was 166 years before this. It's still happening. So where our focus is going is what's going to happen. Careful not to get caught down in the swamp. He was talking about rising that Mars quintile Uranus energy being like rising out of the mud and soaring above to get that eagle eyes perspective and just to recognize that in the big picture, it all comes right. Like Martin Luther King Jr., the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice. I believe that. And so let's keep our hearts there. Justice for people who are being oppressed right now in Ukraine, in Yemen, in Syria. And I know, I know there was something on the news with Sri Lanka, but you guys can leave in the comments if I'm leaving anybody out. But yeah, lots and lots of water, man. Sphinx and Archangel Raphael are together in Pisces too. So you may be dreaming about past lives, or maybe you're getting clues to what comes next. What's the next step? Because Mars is right there. Raphael and Sphinx are between Venus and Mars. And Nessus is at Arcanar. I'm going to be really watching to see what happens with Mars coming up to Nessus, because Nessus has something to do with abuse, and Mars being in the sign of gas. We had that guy open the gas canister in the subway, right? Before he was shooting. A lot of people that have struggled with mental illness, if you know any of those people, really thinking of them and sending them positive energy, that's really hard in this energy to be dealing with that kind of affliction. So we'll see when Mars comes to Nessus. I just don't like it that Putin brought up, was, saying that we were making biological weapons there. It kind of gave me I think that gave everyone pause when he's saying that. But that Uranus with Mercury is going to be something new with, great time to set in motion I talk about this all the time, but something new with caring for the physical body. While Uranus is in Taurus, we all have the opportunity to make that shift, especially if we feel like we're in a world that is, out of control. We don't know what's going to happen next. It's so important to be the emperor in our own, what we do have control over. Calling the shots for what we put into our body. It affects our vibration so much, our mood, our stability. Union is with Vesta, and that is trine. That's a harmonious connection. Union and Vesta and Aquarius, trine Sirius and Gabriel. So really listening for the high priest or the high priestess, your higher self, to bring you messages, and then looking to break free or set a new standard in partnership. Maybe not ending a partnership, but new ground rules, laying new ground rules. He's saying a new adventure. This is taking place on the 16th in London at 7:55 p.m. In Sydney, it's the 17th at 4:55 a.m. And Central Standard Time, it is the 16th at 1:55 p.m. I'm going to read through the notes that I took while Metatron was talking to me, uh, in case I've left something out, just so that, most likely there'll be something for you in those notes. Pause, breathe, appreciate the past, accept the moment, even if the moment is chaotic. Lay down the sword and allow spirit to deliver justice. You got to lay down resentments with that sword, man. That's what that means, really. Meditation and deep breathing, always great when there's a lot in Pisces. Great time to start a new spiritual practice. Ask for help from the angels, from your team, from your supporters. Release control of what is beyond you, you have no control over. Take back your power through strengthening virtues, through self care, rising out of the mud and soaring above to gain perspective. And when he's talking about mud, it's when we get stuck down in the, reality of the illusion and it just seems so bleak. If we're there, we're just contributing to it. It doesn't help anyone, for us all to be down in it. I know it's hard. I'm not saying that it's simple or easy right now, but it's something to strive for, is what he's saying. Releasing our grip on the illusion and remembering the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal being, for me anyway, it's coming into that place of oneness, universal oneness, and letting go with compassion of people, not taking actions, words, or opinions of others personally. And then we want to watch that, being empathetic isn't leading to martyrdom or drama in some way, like something we need to spice up our lives. Grounding to prevent absorbing all of the energy, the negative energy in the ethers. And then honoring the self with harmonious boundaries. So that was his advice for all of us. But when he's saying, like, remembering the ultimate goal, he was talking about having compassion for, he's saying, all of the actors on the stage. So those that have done things to us personally, and then, just having grace for people who are in scenarios of abusive power. Next week I think I'm going to talk about the Pluto in Capricorn as he's finishing up there. I want to talk about, like, different things that have happened since 2008. One of them is artificial intelligence, what a role that plays now, how much that's changed. I said in a video, I was in AI hell, and someone was like, oh, YouTube hell. So just to be clear, first of all, my ego really doesn't like it when people put words in my mouth. But no, I'm grateful for YouTube. But yeah, the AI on YouTube is a problem, not just for me. But we're going to talk about that because I've had a lot of stuff, like when it was happening, I had something going on with the bank. And I would share it with those of you I have sessions with, and you guys had your own stories. So, and then also, that we're taking it in, our own like technology in our house and stuff like that. We need to be careful with that. The way to cure that is to be grateful for it. If we're resentful of it, it has a way, right, to leak in just like another person. So anyway, everybody, I really hope this was helpful for you. Best wishes, thinking of everybody, send you strength and love in this vibration. You're right, it's not easy. Anything you can do to keep your vibration high, watching your diet. Really, while Uranus is in Taurus now, we've got, 4 or 5 more years. Because he probably goes out and comes back, but I need to take a look at that. Listening to our body, getting those messages. Like a lot of times when we're tired, we're eating, because we can't go to sleep. So just being careful to, he's saying, honor our bodies, sitting in stillness, not absorbing or taking in what's happening with the collective is what he's talking about too. So anyway, everybody, I will talk to you again next week. Thank you for liking and subscribing and sharing. I just want to see how long the video is. Okay. So yeah, I didn't look at the time the whole time, but that's all I have. So I'll talk to you again next week. Thanks to everybody and the Metatron chorus, who is taking time to send me emails and let me know like how it's going with you as well. I really appreciate the feedback. I do. And the comments here as well. All right, guys. Thanks. Bye.